Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl, the one and only IT Scrum Master T. So today in this video, I'm just gonna be talking about what goes on in one of my ceremonies. I'm gonna be talking about the retro/planning meeting. So as a Scrum Master, there are 4 ceremonies that you facilitate throughout your sprint life cycle with your team. So today I'm going to be talking about the retro and planning ceremony. So the retro and planning ceremonies, some companies may host them on different days, but for me, my company, we go ahead and knock out the retro and planning meeting at one time in one setting. So I start out so at the meeting, first of all, the whole dev team is there, meaning I have my developers, I have my testers, my QA, my business analyst, the PO is there, and a member of the client. If not the entire client team is there, at least one member of the client team is there to represent for the client. So for me, I have a unit chief. So my unit chief, she sometimes joins the meeting, sometimes she doesn't, but definitely it's always the POs present and the entire dev team, and of course myself as the facilitator. So every time I do my retro and planning meeting, and whenever I meet with the stakeholders, for my company, we call the stakeholders champions. So whenever I meet with them, trying to get like the requirements, or whenever we have our retro planning meeting, I always document the meeting. So from start to finish, I have a document that I fill up, and then I upload it on SharePoint for the PO or any member of the team to view. So when I first start the meeting, I start with the retro. So there are 2 questions that I ask during the first part of the meeting, the retro session. I ask each member of the team to give me their feedback, and then after everyone have spoken, I will give my feedback. So the first question that I ask is what went well during this sprint, and the second question I ask is what didn't go well. So for example, maybe if I ask one of the members, one of the developers, say, hey, what went well for you during this sprint and what didn't go well, he may say, we had a lot of dependencies. The user stories had a lot of dependencies, so that kind of took, so we had to carry over some user stories to the next upcoming sprint. Or he might say like, we were having trouble getting a certificate that we needed for one of our servers, so that didn't go well. For me, I would say something like what went well for me is the teamwork, seeing that everybody was working together to deliver value for the client, and the PO herself, she will give her feedback. So this consists of the retro. After we get the feedback from everyone, then I will move on to the planning session for the upcoming sprint. So for example, in my company, we do a 2-week sprint cycles. So for the month, since there are 4 weeks in a month, so the first sprint cycle, we'll call it September Sprint 1. Then the next spring cycle, we will call it September Spring 2. So actually this on Friday, we had our retro and planning meeting. So we did the retro for September Spring 1, and then we did our planning for September Spring 2. So after I get the retro, the feedback, I get the feedback from my team, then we will move on to the planning session. During the planning session, I'm just going over the backlog for the upcoming spring. Well, not necessarily, I shouldn't use the term backlog. So during the pre-planning, we go into the backlog, and based on the client requirements, we take out the user stories, we get those user stories ready for the upcoming sprint. So we'll always have our pre-planning ceremony before our retro and planning meeting, because the pre-planning, we're pre-planning, right, for the upcoming sprint. So during the planning meeting, the retro and planning meeting, we're just kind of, during the planning session especially, we're just kind of verifying the list of user stories that we already have for the upcoming spring. Okay, so then I will go over that for the upcoming spring. For September Spring 2, I will go over the list of stories. If the developers have not assigned anyone to well, we have a tech lead, right? So if the tech lead has not assigned all the user stories to another developer, someone else, or himself, then he will go ahead and let me know, and I will go ahead and make the updates, make sure all the stories are assigned. Sometimes it does happen during the pre-planning. There are some stories every now and then we cannot really point. Maybe we need further research or whatnot. So we have to kind of get that done before the planning meeting. So if that happens, then I will go ahead and the team will throw points quickly on that 1 or 2 user stories. So then I will go ahead and update the Scrum board. So for us, we use Azure DevOps board. There are Jira boards out there, but we use the ADO board, Azure DevOps Scrum board. So I'll go ahead and update the board. Sometimes depending on the team's velocity, maybe certain stories will come up, you know, like that will be now the new requirements. So I will go over the, you know, the velocity, and then the PO will say, well, you know, according to the champions of the client, like these stories are more priority than this one, so we can move you know, these bottom 5 stories back into the backlog. Maybe we can add them for the upcoming spring. So then, you know, we just kind of like the planning, we're just basically confirming stuff. So once everything is settled and confirmed, I would say, okay, so this is what we have for the upcoming September Spring 2. And then I will ask my team, do you have any PTO? Because now I'm trying to you know, find the team's capacity. Is anybody, how many days, if with this upcoming spring, are you going to be taking a day off or 2 days? So I will go through each member of the team apart from the PO. So I will go through each member of the team and then get their PTO, and then update my ADO board and update my document that I'm making documentation of the ceremony. So that's basically what happens. If you have questions or need more clarity, I'm trying to keep this video under 10 minutes. I'm not sure. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. You know, I know a lot of people out there, you may be nervous. I know I was nervous when I was first when I got my first job as a Scrum Master, because you can watch all these interview questions and answers on YouTube, but you know, real life experience is always, you know, nerve-wracking. But the more knowledge you get, the more comfortable you know, you will be. And then also your team will help guide you to kind of like, you know, settle into your new environment, because every team do different things. Every team may use slightly different terminologies. Some teams incorporate waterfall / agile, so it's all kind of different. So but for us, we do our retro and planning ceremony at the same time. So I just went over kind of like what it entails. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and if you have any questions, like I said, drop that comment below and I'll be more than happy to clarify. Thank you.